So your little one is completely or almost completely daytime potty trained, and now you're wondering about naps and nighttime. I mean, how do you know when they're ready? Where do you even begin? How do you set them up for success? Well, if you have some of those similar questions, then this video is for you. I'm Dr. Jasmine. I'm a clinical psychologist and mom of two, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing all of what you need to know when it comes to nap and nighttime potty training. So let's dive in. Okay, really quickly before we get started with the video, I just want to briefly shout out my potty training book. If you are looking for an all-in-one guide on potty training from start to end, then definitely check out my book. I'll leave the description or the link down in this description box. Also, shout out to everybody who has left me an honest review on Amazon. It really helps the book more than you know. So thank you so much for taking the time to leave a review and share your experience about my book. Okay, let's dive into nap and nighttime potty training. So here's the most important thing to remember when it comes to this kind of potty training is that it is so different than daytime potty training readiness, right? When we think of daytime potty training readiness, I always talk about how it's so important to make sure your child is developmentally ready when it comes to psychological readiness, motor development readiness, emotional readiness, communication, speech and communication readiness. It's so important to make sure that they are developmentally ready. And I actually have some free checklists that help you kind of determine whether or not your child is developmentally ready to start daytime potty training. So I'll leave the links in the description below for those checklists. They're completely free. It also includes a checklist on helpful things to say during potty training. So keep in mind, daytime potty training is largely dependent on a wide variety of developmental readiness, whereas sleep potty training largely is dependent on physiological development, largely about their bladder size, their bladder control, how deep of a sleeper they are, their ability to send that cue to their brain to then wake up when their bladder is full. So it's largely physiologically ready, and that's really important to keep in mind because we can't speed up this process. And I'll talk about some ways that you can help if you don't want to opt for pull-ups, which we'll talk about in a second. But it's really important to remember it's largely dependent on their physiological development. So with that being said, let's talk about nap time potty training, because I do believe you should first start with nap time potty training and then work your way up to bedtime sleep potty training. So when it comes to nap time, first and foremost, you want to make sure that they are fully or almost completely fully daytime potty training. So I wouldn't even start to think about nap time potty training until at least around 6 months after daytime potty training. So you want to make sure that they are having fewer and fewer accidents during the day, that you have a solid daytime potty routine down pat, and that ultimately they are having less and less accidents. So again, I would wait for that before you start to introduce nap time potty training. The reason for this is, one, you want to make sure that your routine is down pat, because nap time and nighttime potty training will largely help if you have a solid routine down that they're already used to. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Also, it's important because you don't want to overload them with trying to learn too much all at once. So again, make sure they're first familiar and have mastered or almost completely mastered daytime potty training. Now, in the meantime, while you wait for them to, one, be physiologically ready, but also master daytime potty training, you can opt for nighttime underpants or pull-ups, right? So these are the ones that we use. Disclosure, both of my children are still using nighttime pull-ups. Now, we don't call them diapers, okay? We don't even call them pull-ups. We call them underpants. And so these would be our Toy Story underpants. We also have PJ Masks underpants. Whatever character they are using, you can label them that. But we use these and we put them on right before they go to bed. So they go potty every time before they go to sleep, whether it's nap or nighttime. And then we put these on. We don't call them diapers again. And then we take them off immediately after they wake up. Now, if you suspect that your little one is waking up and then going to the potty, then wake them up 5 to 10 minutes before they usually wake up and take these off immediately and have them go potty. And that can, you know, obviously cut back on accidents and help you kind of determine, are they peeing while they're sleeping, or are they peeing when they wake up? Because that's commonly what's happening, is they're peeing when they're waking up. Okay, and then once they are waking up from their nap several days in a row, I would say at least 3 days, then that could be your indication, your sign that they are ready to ditch the underpants. Okay, and if you want to do this gradually, then what you can do is put on their underwear first and then put their pull-up or their underpants on over their underwear. What this helps with is, one, it obviously cuts back on the accidents, but it's also a nice way, one, to help them get some feedback. If they do have an accident, they can feel it, right? Because these completely absorb the urine. So if they have an accident, or if it's poop too, they'll really get that feedback. That can kind of help them with learning about, you know, their bodies and how it's working. And also it's a way to do it gradually, right? If you're afraid, oh, I think they're ready, but I'm not sure, let me ease into this, then doing the underwear before the pull-up can be a great gradual way. The other thing you want to make sure that you have is a mattress cover, and I'll go ahead and link my favorite down in the description below, but definitely have a mattress cover because you want to be ready for accidents, because they will probably more than likely happen even if you've deemed them ready. Now, if you're noticing that they're having a lot of accidents, especially several days in a row, that might be your cue to go back to the underpants and try again later. That might just mean that they're not physiologically ready yet to ditch the nighttime pull-ups. Now, let's get into nighttime potty training. So again, I wouldn't start this until they have completely mastered daytime potty training and they're doing well with naps, right? Because again, naps are only an hour or two long versus nighttime is hours and hours and hours at a time. So you want to make sure they first master just a couple hours before you move on to a harder skill, which is going hours and hours without using the bathroom. The other important thing that you want to make sure is that they're in a toddler bed and they're able to get up and go to the bathroom should they need to, right? You don't want to do this when they are still in the crib. It won't make sense, right? Because they will have no way to eliminate during the middle of the night if they wake up and have to go, and that can cause a lot of unnecessary stress and panic. So your child will not be ready to nighttime potty train until they are in a toddler bed and they have enough motor skills, to be able to walk to the potty and go independently in the middle of the night on their own. The other sign that they'll be ready for nighttime potty training is their ability to self-initiate going to the potty and going independently. So again, a good rule of thumb is that generally speaking, children don't start nighttime potty training until about 6 to 12 months, or even much later than that after they've learned daytime potty training. So again, wait. Give your child some time to master daytime potty training before you throw in another skill for them to master. Okay, so in the meantime, while you're waiting, and also if you've decided that they are ready, irregardless, right now, what you want to make sure is that they have a good bedtime potty routine. So generally you want to make sure they go to the potty 30 minutes before they go to bed and then right before they go to bed. The other thing you want to do is limit sugary drinks like juice 2 hours before bedtime, because that tends to put a lot of water in their bladder. So water is fine, but you want to limit the sugary drinks, especially 2 hours before bedtime. Now, if you're like, okay, I think that they're ready, but I'm not sure, again, you can do the same trick where you have them put on their underwear and then their underpants, and test that out for a couple days. And if they're still waking up dry, that's a really good sign that they're ready to ditch the pull-ups altogether. But again, you want to prepare for accidents. So a good helpful trick is to line your mattress with a mattress cover, put on some sheets, and then line your mattress with another mattress cover and put on some more sheets. And what that'll help you do is, in the middle of the night, if they have an accident, they wake up all wet, all you have to do is strip down the first layer, right? Get rid of the sheets and the mattress cover, throw that in the washer, and then they can still go to bed. So you're not over there fumbling around in the middle of the night getting frustrated and all of that. Now, some parents opt to kind of, I guess, help speed this process along by waking up their child 60 to 90 minutes after they've fallen asleep, or wake them up right before they go to bed, or wake them up in the middle of the night. Now, that's not going to technically speed up their physiological development, but it can cut back on accidents throughout the night. And I'm okay with that strategy as long as it's not interfering with their sleep, with your child's sleep, right? So you can try it out. You know, sometimes these things take some trial and error. So if you would rather go that route and wake them up, then that's okay with me, but just make sure it's not interfering with their sleep and also your sleep too. I don't want you doing anything that's going to make you feel more cranky in the morning. So again, I am totally fine with using the underpants. Just don't call them diapers, okay? We move past that. Call them their, nighttime underpants or whatever, and then make sure you always have them take them off right when they wake up. And if you're suspecting that they are going to the bathroom right when they wake up, then wake them up a little bit before and take them off and have them go to the bathroom. And when to worry, because that's a common question I get, is, okay, should I be worried about this? Generally speaking, most children will become nighttime potty trained by the age of 5. And generally the recommendation is to don't start to worry until your child is around 7 and they're having, frequent accidents, I would say a couple times a week. Then I would definitely check in with your pediatrician, let them know your concerns and what's happening. Full disclosure here, I was a late nighttime potty trainer. I don't think I'd fully mastered it until I was like 9, which is really late. And it actually contributed to a lot of shame. And so be sure that you are, handling their accidents with a good attitude, because I still remember to this day how the adults in my life handled my nighttime accidents, because it's a lot of embarrassment, right? Especially as you're getting older. But a good thing to keep in mind is a lot of it is genetics related. That's why I'm not putting a lot of pressure on my little ones to master this skill really quickly. I know that it will come with time, and often, again, it has nothing to do with their conscious awareness. They're not trying to make a mess. They're not doing this in spite or to annoy you. It just simply has to do with either they're a really deep sleeper, their bladder is not large enough, or that signal that goes from their bladder to their brain is not fully developed. And so they just need a little bit more time, a little bit more patience and grace. So I really hope this video was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any other questions down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. Share with some family or friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.